there, and welcome back to Weird Soda for Life. Today, I'm here to kick ass and drink bubblegum, and I'm all out of asses. ah? Ah? You get it. Welcome back. Um, you may notice that this is already open, and here's why. So, yours truly went through, recorded the whole video, and as I was uploading it, I was doing some other testing and I was playing around making sure everything looked okay, and there was no audio. Um, Not sure what happened to my mic, but so unless you wanted to watch 10 minutes of me like mouthing and doing the things, I'm actually re-recording. So bear with me. You're gonna get the same experience. I will walk you through what I experienced when I looked at the bottle and everything else, but I did want to be upfront as to why this is open. Um, and I'm a little grumpy, so talking about kicking asses, right? Take Mike, why? Uh, but anyway, let's get into it. So first things first, I did do a little research about bubblegum and things before I obviously tried the soda. Um, so let's start with this weird origin story. Imagine it. 1928. You work for Fleer Chewing Gum Company. Your name is Walter Diemer, and you're an accountant. Yeah, so this guy named Walter Diemer is an accountant for this chewing gum company, and he's playing around after hours in the lab, which like doesn't seem like a thing you should be doing. But what do I know? I'm not an accountant. But he's playing around with these chemicals and things like that, and magic happens. I guess I'm not quite sure, but he stumbles across bubblegum. Now, note how I'm not saying chewing gum. So, chewing gum has existed since mostly since time began, and humans were putting weird things in their mouth because they needed to chew on something. Yeah, the ancient Greeks had mastic tree resin. Native Americans chewed spruce gum. Actually, even 19th century people were chewing paraffin wax, which doesn't sound fun at all. Why are we just putting things in our mouth like that? It's as if somebody was like, I want a Baby Bell cheese, but not the cheese, the wax, which makes no sense to me. But anyway, back to this. And as I said before, it's 1928. Honestly, in the early 1900s, the Wrigley Chewing Gum Company already existed, right? And their gum was chewable, but not blowable. So when Walter plays around with this, he ends up creating like this really cool invention, where you can chew stuff and then blow bubbles with it because, if anything, we all like to play with our food. And then we look at the actual color of it because you have to ask yourself, why pink? Like, why is this the jam? Well, that's because when Walter created this gum, it was gray. It was gross gray. It was like the gray stuff from Be Our Guest, except I didn't want to eat the cartoon gray stuff and I wouldn't want to eat the chewing gray stuff then. So he's looking around the lab because, again, he's not doing this normally. He's an accountant. And he comes across this red dye, the red food dye. He was like, well, shoot, I got to dump something on this. And he does. And that's how we get the quintessential pink color that we associate with bubblegum. I wish I had more happy accidents like that because usually when I'm just like leaving things up to chance, it usually results in me wearing mismatched socks and shoes to work. And like that's never fun. It's not even a lifestyle choice. um, but okay, so right, we've got this now. We got gum that you can blow bubbles with. It's in an aggressively pink color. Surely everybody's going to go nuts for this, especially since there's no joy coming because literally the next year is the Great Depression. But you're wrong. Actually, the gum's breakthrough comes in World War II. The gum, by this time named Dubble Bubble, so still in existence, uh, gets shipped out with GIs because it was cheap to make, right? So the American soldiers are taking it all over Europe, leaving it around, handing it to children. Essentially, it's chewable propaganda, right? Um, and so it takes off. And by the 1950s, especially as soldiers are coming home, they're still chewing the gum, they're introducing it. Um, Bubblegum becomes as quintessential to America as baseball, apple pie, putting tariffs on penguins, the usual American activities. Um, and then other, and it takes off in other ways, like Bazooka Joe. Y'all remember those weird comics? I used to collect them, and I feel like I'm maybe the only one who might have. But anyway, or like Bubble Yum. Heck, you stand in a grocery aisle today, and you can see a myriad of gum flavors, and it's all that you can blow bubbles with, and that's because of Mr. Deemer. So I guess I hope he got compensated. um, with that, let's take a look. So I really like the design of this bottle. I think it's really great. I think feels very nostalgic, right? With the little starburst things from like the galaxy like kind of wallpaper from like the 50s. It feels like it's trying to generate nostalgia. And I really like this design. But with that, let's open it up. Just like the last time I did it that you guys didn't see. It smells like bubblegum. It smells exactly like bubblegum, which is a weird thing when we think about it because bubblegum has a very distinct smell. And have you ever asked what bubblegum tastes like other than itself? It's kind of like everything tastes like chicken, except in this case the chicken is bubblegum. I don't know. But smells like bubblegum. And I will take a sip, but I'm going to tell you, and we'll see if my opinion has changed since the first time I filmed this video and the second one 20 minutes later, but bottoms up. Okay, so my opinion hasn't actually changed, but I will tell you what it is because you couldn't hear me the first time. This is bubblegum. This is liquid bubblegum. This is like somebody said, you know what? Chewing is too hard for me. I just want to drink this. And I don't want to blow a bubble. There's tiny bubbles in this. Um, so for that alone, I would give that a 10 out of 10. That it tastes exactly like the food it is trying to emulate. And as y'all know, having watched this channel for a while, that is a hard thing to accomplish. So I think Faygo did a really wonderful job with that. And then here comes the however. It's very sweet. It feels like it's going to rot out my teeth a little. But that's not a problem with this particular flavor alone. That's the thing that's with Faygo. Like Faygo has a lot of fun flavors and they're great. And um, when the base of the sugary Faygo plays with like other flavors that are more tart or things like that, it works wonderfully. Unfortunately, when it's with a sweet on sweet, it tends to be a little bit too sweet. I think this has got to get cut with something, and I don't even want to say ice because that's usually my go-to. I don't think the flavor needs to be watered down. I just think something needs to cut through that sweetness. I mean, the only thing I'm coming up with is maybe a splash of lemon juice or something, but that seems weird. But it's it's good and it tastes like it's supposed to. I guess, with food things, I always have to give you two ratings. So 10 out of 10 for completely capturing the way the food is supposed to taste. But 7.5, 8 out of 10 for just being so overly sweet. But go get it. I think it's fun. I think it's a good time, and I will probably drink more of this, but like very slowly, and I'll probably split it with Mr. Weird. Um, Next week, we're gonna get into the end of this two-part like new Faygo flavors for March for April and May um, soda thing with Super Pop. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this just pop on pop? And no, because you know for a fact that I do not refer to pop as pop. It's soda. Um, but if you've ever been up here in the mitten or at a like Midwestern person's house, but I think probably though specifically Michigan, if you've had Superman ice cream, this is what it's supposed to taste like. And because of how true to form that one was, I'm really looking forward to trying this soda next week to see if it tastes like the ice cream. I have some faith, which is not usually what I say when I talk about food sodas. Anyway, until next time, drink weird, check your mic to make sure it's working so you don't have to record a second video, and I guess, like, do your best inventing off the clock because then eventually you come up with cool stuff like this, or you don't, and you get fired. I'm not your boss. Anyway, see you next time.